Hey everybody, Star 6 Wars 1 here, and welcome to the first of two videos that I consider bonus videos for Anime Movie Month. Even though Anime Movie Month has passed us now, I would like to do two videos that I could not do in the month. And the first one is Evangelion 3.0 You Cannot Redo. Now, to get into a little backstory with me, I've stated, I think, on multiple occasions, I hate Neon Genesis Evangelion, and to a certain degree, I hate the Evangelion franchise, period. Neon Genesis Evangelion was one of the worst experiences I've ever had with any show, anime or otherwise. The end of Eva, which was the movie following the series, was, in my opinion, a hint better, but not by much, and the ending is left empty and hollow. Then comes the Rebuilt series that was made back much later. The first of those movies, I'm gonna say I find it better than the series, at least in an animation standpoint, but I felt that the first movie was more or less another cash grab. The second movie was the same with a few hints of differences starting up, which, since I didn't like Eva to begin with, was kind of a nice change of pace, and I kinda liked the second movie. So that puts Evangelion 3.0 at a very difficult spot. It will either be the worst of the franchise or the best of the franchise, in my opinion. And we'll get to what I think of it later. But first, let's go with the story. The story of this one takes place 14 years after 2.0's ending, which ended with Shinji starting Third Impact, but was suddenly stopped. Unfortunately, how shall I put this? When the story is still as much of a mind F as the rest of the series. That should never be a big surprise, though. Sadly, it's Evangelion. It's still a mind screw with its story, and the story, however, on this one is at least more coherent, and I think more focused, which is something I think Neon Genesis Evangelion was really missing. And the end of Evangelion just decided to dump consistency and not screw with your mind out the window and just screws with your mind. This is more coherent. It still screws with your mind, but at least it's more coherent and better paced. So I do have to give compliments to the story, and to the fact that it is a relatively dark story. Once again, it sticks with that dark mood from beginning to end. So kudos to the story for that much. Next, we get into one of the major problems I have with the film: the characters. I've also stated before, characters are one big thing I look for in an anime. Unfortunately, this is, in my opinion, I think 3.0's weakest point. I've never liked the Eva characters, or a good majority of them. Never have, but this one takes the cake for having characters that are just despicable all round. They don't explain anything, they're bland, or at least, and they can just be so cruel to Shinji. Admittedly, and this is kind of a surprise for me, Shinji is one of my favorite characters in this one, and he is one of my least favorite in the franchise itself. But the thing is, he's wholly relatable. He has no idea what's going on. He's been asleep for 14 years. How the hell is he supposed to know any of this? And everyone treats him extremely cruelly or indifferently, with two exceptions. And one of those exceptions from the other now rivaling Nerve's organization is does not have enough screen time at all, and I would have liked to see her more. Sakura was her name, by the way. I would have liked more screen time with her. Do that for the last movie. And then we get into Kawrou, the only other character I find likable in this film. I don't know why, but I was never a big fan of him. To me, it's like his almost obsession with Shinji comes off as really creepy. Like, the bond between them is genuine, and I gotta admit, give props to that. His obsession is creepy, but understandable, and actually one of the better aspects of the story of the characters. It's just, I don't know, his whole Shinji is like, okay, that's creepy. Sorry, I can't get over Kawrou's I'm very, very creepy aspects. It's similar to Aru from Mirai Nikki, aka Future Diary, but I think Kawrou was always better at that. So I find him creepy. And one other character I'd like to mention, Gendo Mother Effin Akari. I did not think I could hate this bastard more than I had before. I was proven wrong with this film. I hate him more than I have ever hated him in the past. We'll get to more of my topic with him at a later countdown, though. Have fun with that. Next up, I'm going to say this right now. Animation-wise, this is the best Evangelion has ever been. So, no complaints there. Studio Kawrou did a bang-up job. Great job, guys. And that is about the biggest comment I can give to you guys, because I really don't like the Eva series. And yeah, that's about it for the animation. And finally, we go into the music. You know what? I actually like the music in this one. While I was sitting in the theaters watching it, I just remember just hearing the music and it was like, oh yeah. Which is something I really think Evangelion really needed. It was something very lacking in previous entries in the series, but this one had it. Thank God. Now, with all my mixed sayings, you'd think I would either love or hate this one. I kind of fall somewhere in between. Whereas, I don't hate it. I don't completely love it either. Another problem this thing has is the change from action scenes to psychological tone, which is run-of-the-mill for Eva, and I hate it in the series. I still hate it now. It's one thing I really, really wish they didn't do. Other than that, and the really unlikable characters in this one, I actually do think this is a decent film. Actually, scratch that. I really, really enjoyed this film. Which for Eva, that's saying something. Finally, I get to enjoy one of their movies. Finally, I get to enjoy something other than just thinking, what this, ugh. I enjoy the story, I enjoy the music, and I enjoy the animation. True, the characters are wholly unlikable at times, and a good majority of them, even my favorite character from the franchise, Misato, is unlikable here. So, ultimately the characters are the ultimate weakness in this film, because they're just so despicable and detestable, and they don't explain anything. If I had to rely on the villains to explain what the hell's going on, then you've done something wrong. Alright, in conclusion, really good film, and I recommend watching the entire Rebuilt film before this one, though, because you will be even more confused if you don't. I give Evangelion 3.0 an 8 out of 10. It would have scored higher if the characters were less detestable, But I think I actually really enjoyed every other aspect other than the characters and the whole psychological bullshit that Ava's known for. Anyways, this has been Star 6 Wars 1, and I'll see you next time.